any of you been watching the new show on TV called Doomsday Preppers? It's basically about people who are preparing for the end of the world. Now, some of these go to, well, most of them are going to extreme lengths to prepare themselves and their families for the apocalypse. But a lot of people find this entertaining and slightly funny. Now, I actually think that on a very general level, preparing your family for a disaster is an extremely responsible thing to do. I'm Brady, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about natural disasters that we experience in America, specifically flooding and tsunamis, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about things that you can do to prepare you and your family for the event of a natural disaster. Now, according to the redcross.org, the most common natural disaster in America is flooding. This is probably because all you need to have flooding conditions is a lot of rainfall in a very short amount of time. To make things worse, you could be in a low-lying area next to a dam or a river that overflows. So any of these things make you susceptible to flooding. Now, the actual number one weather-related killer in America, according to the Red Cross, is flash flooding. Now, flash flooding is just as it sounds. It happens in an instant with so much water and for nowhere to go. It just creates a complete disaster. So the one thing that is constantly said throughout the emergency websites would be not to go out driving around during flash flood conditions. It only takes 6 inches of water to lose control of your vehicle, and a lot of people underestimate what they can get through. So if you are in doubt at all, don't do it. And if they have barricades up, don't go around them. Now, the other thing that you should know about, especially about flooding, but others, is the National Weather Organizations put out both watches and warnings. Now, a flood watch is basically put out when there may be flooding in your area, and they just want you to know to prepare. Now, a warning is put out, so like a flood warning would be put out if your area is currently experiencing flooding conditions. Now, another type of water-related natural disaster is tsunamis. Now, a lot of people think, tsunamis, I don't have to worry about that because I don't live in Hawaii, even though I do. But it's not just islands that have to worry about it. According to Brady.org, all coastal areas are susceptible to tsunamis. Now, tsunamis are basically seismic waves that are created from any type of under-the-water earthquake or volcanic eruption or any type of underwater activity. Now, specifically, Alaska, Hawaii, California, Oregon, and Washington are susceptible to tsunamis. A little bit more than everybody else, but these are the areas that are listed as higher level, probably because of all the earthquakes that go on during them. Now, during a tsunami warning, well, when you're preparing for one, if you're in that area, the one thing you want to look at is how close to the coast is your home. You want to know whether or not you're within a mile and whether or not you are less than 25 feet above sea level. If you are, then you need to make sure that you figure out where the evacuation routes are and where the high level grounds are that are already pre-designated by the government in that area for you to evacuate to. Now, I know I can't go through all the natural disasters that America experiences, but I do want to leave everybody with something to take away. So I want to tell you what the Red Cross says everybody should do in case of any type of natural disaster. So there are 2 things. The first would be to create an emergency kit. Now, I've created an emergency kit today, and I want to share it with you. The first thing in my emergency kit is a blanket. Now, this is because you could be evacuated to shelter, or you might have to do a makeshift shelter, and it can also help treat for shock. So blankets are good for a lot of things. Hygienic items. I only have toothpaste here, but you definitely want 3 days worth of medications and hygienic items for you and your family. The next thing I have is a first aid kit. And this is basically to handle all the little type of events, accidents that might happen when you're trying to evacuate or when you are away from home for 3 days. Also, I have an LED lantern for light. LED batteries last longer. I have flame in case, you never know. And then I have 3 days of food and water, and that's highly recommended for you and your family. So you want to have a lot of canned items that you can just open. MREs are also, they're better than they used to be. You can get granola bars, ramen, cup of noodles, anything to add water to. I also have a jug of water here, but I highly advise that you actually get the water bottles with the purifier on top. So you just purify as you go, wherever you get your water from. Then you're going to put it all into a go bag, like this one. Although you don't have to get one like this. You can get whatever you have around the house. But the basic thing is to make sure it can fit all of your stuff for your emergency kit, and you can have it ready to go at the door, in the garage, or wherever. So in case you have to evacuate, you can just grab it and go. Now the second thing the American Red Cross wants you to do is make a family communication plan. So there's 2 things that involve this. One, they want you to already plan ahead of time a place to evacuate to. Make sure every member of your family knows how to get there and where it is. The other thing they want you to do is ensure that you have somebody in your family or a contact who's not in the local area that everybody in your family can communicate with if you guys get separated. So you can call this person and tell them you're safe or where you're at, and they collect all the information on your family. Now, it's extremely important to prepare you and your family for a natural disaster beforehand, before it happens, not afterwards. So today I covered the different types of natural disasters that we experience in America. I covered flooding, and I covered tsunamis, and the different types of things you can be careful of, and the different watches and warnings for them. Then I also went through the 2 things that the Red Cross really highly advises you to do to prepare your family for a natural disaster. The first one being the emergency kit, and the second one being a family communication plan, having a designated place to meet and a designated person to call. So I hope today that I've convinced you the time and money that it takes to prepare you and your family for a natural disaster is minute compared to how great it will feel when you guys make it through such an event. It's like my mom always said, it's better to be safe than sorry.